Hey everybody, welcome back. And it's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks, all things considered. We've seen the market doing crazy things. We're watching interest rates doing just really wild and crazy things, and it is absolutely having an impact on buyers and what's going on in the market. So the question is, are pendant homes really down for us at 2.3%? Are we seeing an improvement? Are we going horizontal? Are we actually going down? Let's hang on. Let's get the show on the road. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about interest rates because that has got to be what probably the biggest impact next to just general affordability because our prices keep heading in an upward trend. So what we're seeing is really at the end of the day is a disparity between what buyers are, especially first-time buyers, are able to afford based on cost, not only in interest rate, but in home prices. Because there are some folks saying, George, are our prices going down? And the answer is, well, no, not really. We're actually seeing a modest correction. We're not really going down, but we are definitely seeing a correction. And you might say, okay, well, isn't a correction going down? Well, no, not necessarily, because here's the thing. If the sellers have had a dominant position in the market, say over the last, 6 years, and now we're seeing more of a balanced market between buyers and sellers, that doesn't necessarily mean the values are going down. That means that we're actually seeing a level playing field. And that is a bigger point. And that is a lot of what we're seeing. In fact, we are seeing a lot of what we would consider first-time buyers that have been in the market or looking on the market definitely have moved off to the sidelines because they're just not engaging right now because of cost. That's why a lot of folks have been renewing leases. We're seeing an increase in rent prices and whatnot, which benefits landlords at this point, especially with the fact with the rental caps that Washington State put on, even though it's been illegal for 100 plus years. But anyway, what do I know? Anyway, so when we take a look at that, we are seeing some of that happen, and that's why we're seeing a reduced level of sales. Okay, so let's get into that. Let's open this up really fast. All right, so when we take a look at this, we have our pendant sales. It looks like, we're slipping a little bit in July. Although we're at the end of August, we're going to see our real-time numbers. Nationwide, this is what we are seeing. And and as you can see, it goes up and down all the time, every year, and it's following that same trend. But as we look at it, it says, look, high mortgage rates at, basically of the year hit right in the middle of the summer. And that's why we're seeing some of the pullback, especially from first-time buyers. And when we take a look down below, and for those of you that don't know Lawrence Yun, super smart guy, he's the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors. Basically, it says, look, payroll employment is up 5% above its pre-pandemic level, suggesting a significant amount of potential buyer demand still remains on the sidelines. I 100% agree with that because that is what we are seeing. When we talk about the kind of the well-funded buyers, whether they're move-up buyers or buyers that, saved up, they've got the ability to purchase at a higher price, those homes are still moving. But the price points that we're seeing down lower are not doing as well. And that is, I think, where we are also starting to see some of that pullback because you have to have, well, at the end of the day, right, it's kind of that trickle down thing. You have the move-up buyers or the first-time home buyers moving into what we will call the move-up buyers. They are moving up into the luxury or, downsizing. And when we take one of those steps out, that affects the whole flow because in order for one person to move to the next spot, somebody has to take that spot, vacate the spot, move on to the next one. Again, if we remove that, that's where we start to see part of that shift where we're saying, hey, we're seeing some slowdown. Yeah, because we removed one of the steps and now we have a little bit of a hiccup in the process. But funny enough, as you'll be able to see, our numbers actually are still doing quite well And we are seeing quite a bit of activity still. Look, even when we talk about closed sales, you know what? It's not that significant, 218. Price differences that we're seeing on a medium sales price is only a $10,000 adjustment. Again, not a big deal. Now, we take a look at our headlines. Naturally, on the upper left, our pending home sales slipped just a little bit. On the upper right, we did just a tiny little bit of an increase. That's why it's red. It's been pretty low as far as the last 4 weeks ago. We just had a little bit of an increase at the end. Housing starts for new construction, bottom left. That's a good trend. That's a number to watch. And the reason that you want to watch that number right over there, because it tells us what builders are doing. Now, there are a lot of builders out there right now that are pulling back. Why? Well, we're getting ready to head into the slower winter months. They don't want a bunch of standing inventory. So they have slowed down production, smart, which then that also has a trickle down to a lot of other industries. Now, 7 out of every 10 positions out there have some form of relationship to real estate. Some people say, George, that's not true. Okay, when you start looking at it, you're like, oh, actually, I get it. So it has that impact. And that's why watching what builders are doing in applications and how much inventory they're bringing on is important, because they're forecasting not just months, not even years, but a couple of years. They forecast what's going to happen. So remember that. Now, as we get back into our little chart here, highest mortgage rates in just over a week and that was on yesterday, because we've been doing really well rate-wise all week as we were coming back down. As you can see from Freddie's 7-day running average, we actually headed in a slight downward trend, which is super awesome. Now, when we talk about what we're doing with days on market and everything else, look, here's the thing. Nothing has changed. Even when we come over here and we take a look at what's going on with the market on the Northwest MLS, what is important is, look, we took on 1,129 homes and we went pended of 1,017. So again, super close, right? Fridays are a big day. We did end up having a lot of listings come on Friday, because otherwise the new listings and the pended listings, well, guess what? They were absolutely identical. But for the first time, our reduced homes actually, well, guess what? Exceeded the number of homes coming on. Now, okay, granted, only one home. But what it is also telling us is that, hey, buyers need to be a lot more conscientious about or sellers need to be more conscientious about what buyers are looking at. With our more balanced inventory, they're not able to be as aggressive. In other words, the sellers that have had control of the market over the last 6 years, well, their reign has ended, and we are very much a very balanced market. Again, we're not seeing downward trends. We're just seeing a mild market correction. Even, I always get her name wrong, Dalrymple from Redfin, I watched an interview with her, and she says the exact same thing. So I guess she's smarter than I am. Well, I know she is, actually. Anyway, she's got a bigger head shed and more tools than I have access to. But the point is, when we take a look at what is going on in our market, we're seeing a correction. We're seeing a balance, which is benefiting a lot of buyers. Sellers, well, nobody likes to be in second place. More importantly, nobody likes to play the level of playing field, except for it brings health back into our market. And that's probably the most important thing, is that it'll help to increase the overall health of our market, which is still, again, doing quite well. Now, when we roll over and we start talking about what's going on in the market, let's pull this up. Here's what's super interesting. Take a look at the center chart. Our listings up for the month of August so far. Look, they're only up 124 homes. Okay. However, our sales are off 248 homes, or down 6.8%. Pended are up 109 homes, or up 5.4%. You might say, okay, why is that super important? Look, we need to pull things into perspective, because when we're dealing with, again, small numbers, the percentages that a lot of the media uses for sensationalism, well, it doesn't work so well when you actually know the real numbers. If you think of 3/4 of Washington state, we're only off 65 homes, or we're up 65 pended homes. We're only off, 495 homes on sales. 3/4 of Washington state year to date, that's not a big deal. Sure, our numbers are, again, what I would consider more flat. Why? Well, we've had more inventory coming on. We've had higher interest rates. Prices are still in a slight upward angle, not much, depending on area. More rural areas, taking a downward trend. Condos, without a doubt, condos are suffering and hurting the market. Hands down, okay? Why? Well, because when you have people that are looking at that entry level, point of getting into a home, condos and townhomes are very much a entry level for a lot of folks, and they are sitting on the sideline because of cost of funds. That's what gets hurt first. Then, of course, the people that, if they can't sell their condo or their townhome, they can't move up to their next house. If they can't move up to their next house, that means that the move-up buyer that wants to go to a luxury home, well, they can't do it, or, it becomes tighter, and it just compresses and shrinks that whole package. Okay, is it monumental? No. Will it come back? Of course it will. Why? Because our market actually is quite healthy and getting healthier. All right, let's move on. As we come over, we take a look at the overall, how many homes more this year have we had? Well, we've had about 4,700 homes more this year. Again, that's 3/4 of Washington state. You might say, George, that's a lot of homes. No, actually, we're still below pre-pandemic levels of all things. Go figure that one. We still could have come up another couple of thousand homes to get to pre-pandemic levels, in which that is where we are not at. But we're just under it, and just barely under it, whereas before we were way under it. All right. When we take a look at pricing, look, week over week, we're up $3,000, even though it says that we're down 3.6%. We're actually higher than where we were at last week price-wise, about $31,000 off from where we were at last week on as far as when we take a look at the difference between the two. When we take a look at year to date, it's about a $13,000 disparity between what is selling today versus what is sold last year. And we are down year to date $1,000. Pretty much that's pretty flat, pretty neutral, all things considered. When we take a look at new construction, look, they're kind of the, like foreclosures, they're kind of the boring story. They say, look, our numbers are down, 23.4%. Okay, well, that's only like 18 homes or so, right? 19 homes, 18 homes? Not very much. Small potatoes, all things considered. When we take a look at year to date, those numbers again are the same. We're not seeing any shift as far as, percentage of sold versus percentage of pended. Year over year, sure, we're down just a few, not a whole heck of a lot. The however is, we're going to see that number broaden out, I think, a little bit as we start to see builders slow down productivity. They want less standing product during the winter. Makes perfect sense, right? And that also will help maintain plot control and plot pricing, which again is what the name of the game is for them. So if you're thinking you're going to negotiate price, probably not, but you can absolutely negotiate a lot of other terms. Make sure the agent that you're working with knows how to negotiate those terms with builders. The average agent probably just doesn't know that skill set. Make sure you're working with somebody who understands how to get you the best dollar. Don't leave tens of thousands of dollars sitting on the table. I'm just saying. All right, let's move on. Let's get back to our chart here. Now, when we take a look at the actual sold price, we're up 14,000 from where we were at last week. We're even up 1.5%, this week. Year to date, they're off $5,000. Not a big deal. Just understand that as you get closer to the end of the month, you have better opportunities for better pricing. Now, let's head off into the really boring story of bank-owned properties. And you might say, George, why do you say that's boring? Because A, we don't have that many, and B, because we don't have that many, lenders go paint, carpet, and vinyl. They put it on the market at market value, and they get it. There are better opportunities other than foreclosures. I'm not saying don't buy a foreclosure or an REO at that point, okay? I'm just saying if you're looking for a deal, you need to look elsewhere because banks are not where your deals are at. Just saying. All right, let's take a look at this. Okay. So we have 27 more homes than we did last year. Yeah. Yay! Look at that. We're down 3 homes, but it says we're down 7%. 45.8, 46% increase in solds. That's 11 homes. 76% increase. Almost 77% increase on pending sales. That's 11 homes. Year to date, we have 160 more homes that came on market that were REOs or bank-owned homes than we had last year. Again, that is small potatoes, absolutely small potatoes. Now, here's the thing. Hopefully you've enjoyed some information here. It allowed you to get going. If you found anything of value at all, would you please hit the like button? Do us a solid so that other people can get this. There's zero marketing. There's zero cost. We're just trying to really help the greatest number of people out there. In the meantime, it's a little wet outside today. Have an absolutely beautiful day today. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.